Hi, today's day 4 and today's problem is merge two sorted linked lists. So we are given two linked lists and we are supposed to merge them and sort the resultant linked list and return pointer to the first node of the resulting linked list. So we have a pointer L1 which is pointing to the first node of first list and another pointer L2 which is pointing to the first node of another list. Now to solve this problem, we check whether which pointer is pointing to a node which has a smaller value. So in this case, L1 and L2 both are pointing to a node which have value 1. We can take any of these pointers. Suppose we took this one. So this becomes the first node of our result as it is here, and then L2 starts pointing towards the next node, that is this one. Now again we check for the same condition. Now L1 is pointing to a node which has a smaller value, therefore this becomes the second node, and then L1 start pointing to the next node. Again we check the same condition. This time also L1 is pointing to a node with smaller value, therefore this is the next node. L1 again start pointing to the next node of this node, and again we check the same condition. Now this time 3 is the value which is smaller, and therefore this node becomes the next node. Now L2 also progresses to the next node. Again we check the same condition, and both of them are actually pointing towards nodes which have same value, therefore we can pick any of these nodes. And suppose we chose this one, then this will point here and this is null, that is this node is actually pointing to the null value, and therefore L1 is pointing to null value now, and whatever is left in L2, so it was just 4, so this whole list is our answer. So now let us see the solution to this problem. So we are given a function merge two lists, and it has two pointers which are pointing to the first nodes of the lists, and then we created a dummy head which is a list node. Let us say that this is dummy head. Then I created a pointer which points to dummy head, so this is current. Now current is pointing towards this node, and then we check if L1 and L2 are not equals to null, which means that L1 and L2 are actually pointing towards some node. Then these statements will be executed. Now let us see what are these statements. First we check if L1 has a smaller value than L2, and yes it has, therefore these statements are executed. So in the first statement we are actually making the next pointer of current points to L1. This means that this node now starts pointing to this L1, and therefore this is our resultant list now, and then L1 points to the next node, therefore L1 is now pointing to this node. Then this statement is executed, which makes the current points to its next node, which is this one. This is the situation now. Again we check this condition, and again it evaluates to true, and again we check if L1 is pointing to a smaller value, but no it is not, because both the values are equal, therefore this else block is executed, and the first statement is next pointer of current now points to L2, therefore this thing now points to this node, which is this. Now L2 points to next node, and again current is equals to its next pointer, therefore now current points to this node. Again this loop executes, and we see that again L1 and L2 are not equals to null, therefore this condition is checked. Again L1 is pointing to a node with smaller value. Now the current points to this node, and L1 progresses as well, so L1 now points to this node. Again current becomes equal to its next node, therefore current is now this node. Again the loop executes, and again both pointers are actually pointing to some node, and this time L2 is smaller value, therefore now this is the state of our result, and L2 starts pointing to this node, and this current now points to this node. Again the loop executes. This time L2 is smaller and L2 this time points to null. The next pointer of current points to L2, which was 4. Then current points to this node. Now when this condition is checked, this time L2 is actually pointing to null. Therefore we came out of this loop and we execute this statement, which simply says that the next pointer of current now will point to whatever comes from this statement. So this time we are checking if L1 is not equals to null, which is true. L1 is not equals to null. Therefore next pointer of current points to L1 and L1 is pointing to 6. So this node is now being pointed by the next pointer of current. We are finished with this and we were supposed to return a linked list which includes all the elements which are there in our given two lists. So this list starts from here. Therefore we return dummy head.next. That is the list from here. Now there was a chance that L1 was actually pointing towards null. Here L1 was not pointing towards 1 but it was L2. But if it was L1 which was pointing towards null, we will return L2. Yes, that's it. I hope you liked the video. Thank you.